Oh, I must have left some creamer in my coffee over the weekend and it's spoiled. Oh, now that we live in this fallen world because of original sin, milk spoils, nails rust, things fall apart, our bodies break down and get sick. It's awful. But you know what? God has the power to heal the sick. And we learned in Exodus chapter 15, verse 26, that it says, I am the Lord that heals you. Do you remember the story that was found in John chapter 9, where Jesus and the disciples were walking along the road, and there was this man that was blind, and he was begging. And the disciples asked, who sinned, this man or his parents? Because they figured something had to have been done in order for him to be blind. But Jesus said that's not why he was blind. He was not blind because of his parents' sin or his sin. He was blind for simply the fact that God wanted to show up and do something big. So Jesus spit on the ground, and then he reached down to the ground and made some mud, and he put it on the blind man's eyes. The blind man was then instructed to walk down to the pool of Siloam and wash the slimy mud off of his eyes. How crazy! But when he washed the mud off of his eyes, he was able to see, and he went around the whole town declaring how great God is and what God had done for him. Sometimes we get sick. Sometimes our bodies break down. But it is a time for God to show up and show out what he can do and who he is. So it is our job to believe that God is who he says he is and that he will do what he says he will do. Sometimes it takes a long time, and sometimes it takes no time at all. But let God work through you. This last week, we mentioned several people in need of prayer. Remember those people and continue to bring them before God, because God's power is able to heal the sick. Last week we started our very first Christmas program practice. Be watching the website for all of the practice schedule details.